7 Marvel gods who would wreck James Gunn's Superman. That first look at the suit tells us we're getting a powerful, iconic Man of Steel, but he's also a younger hero, still figuring things out. And he's got that one glaring weakness that's been his Achilles heel for decades: magic. While everyone's busy debating which DC villain he'll fight first, we're asking a bigger question. How would this fledgling Superman hold up against the raw, magical power of the Marvel Universe? Today, we're power-scaling 7 Marvel gods who we think wouldn't just beat him. They'd utterly wreck him. Before we start this cosmic gauntlet, drop a comment and let me know which Marvel god you think is the biggest threat. Alright, let's get into it. First, we've got to set the stage for this throwdown. This isn't the god-tier, reality-punching Superman from deep in the comic book future. We're talking about a younger hero. He's incredibly powerful, for sure, but he's still learning the limits of his own strength, and more importantly, his vulnerabilities. James Gunn has emphasized that this Superman will face threats that aren't just about physical strength, and we know his 2 classic weaknesses are kryptonite and magic. We've seen how kryptonite can be a problem for any version of the character, but this new hero likely hasn't faced a being of pure, overwhelming magical force. He's a physical powerhouse in a world that hasn't thrown a reality warping sorcerer at him yet. That's where our list begins. We're running a gauntlet, from physical gods to cosmic abstracts, to see just how out of his depth this new Man of Steel might be. Section 1. Hercules, the physical overmatch. First up is a god who meets Superman right on his home turf. Pure, unadulterated strength. We're talking about the Prince of Power, the Lion of Olympus, Marvel's Hercules. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. In a straight-up slugfest, a contest of raw physical might, Hercules is a challenge this rookie Superman is simply not ready for. While fans will forever debate who is definitively stronger, with many giving Superman the edge because he can sun dip for a power boost that assumes a seasoned Superman who knows how to maximize his abilities. We're talking about an early career Supes. Hercules, on the other hand, just is strength. It's his whole deal. He's the literal god of it, born with a level of physical power that is absolutely astronomical. Let's look at the tail of the tape. Hercules has some staggering feats under his belt. In the comics, he's literally held up the heavens, which in Marvel translates to shouldering an immeasurable cosmic burden. He's towed the island of Manhattan. He's gone blow for blow with the furious Hulk and stood his ground against Thor. His strength is foundational. It doesn't depend on a nearby yellow sun. But here's the real kicker, the detail that probably gives Hercules the win: his fighting skill. Hercules is one of the most accomplished warriors in the Marvel Universe, period. He has thousands of years of combat experience, having mastered every form of fighting known to man and god. This is the guy credited with inventing pankration, a brutal mix of boxing and wrestling, basically the ancient Greek blueprint for MMA. So, how does the wrecking actually happen? Superman flies in, confident in his strength and speed, and throws a punch that could level a skyscraper. Hercules, with millennia of combat instinct, doesn't just block it. He redirects it, using Clark's own momentum against him. Clark is used to being the hammer. He is not used to fighting a master craftsman who also happens to be a hammer. While Superman might be faster, Hercules has spent centuries fighting alongside and against speedsters. He's used to it. The fight would be a brutal, drawn-out brawl. But for Superman, it's a harsh lesson. For Hercules, it's just another Tuesday. Every move Superman makes, Hercules has seen before. Every application of strength, Hercules can match or counter with superior technique. Superman's brawling, honed against thugs and the occasional monster, would be totally outclassed by a warrior who's been fighting titans and gods since before civilization began. Superman would get tired. His solar energy would start to run low. Hercules, whose stamina is functionally limitless, would not. It wouldn't be a quick fight, but it would be a definitive one. The rookie gets a masterclass from a legend, and it's a lesson written in bruises. Section 2. Odin, the Magical Annihilation. If Hercules offers a physical lesson, our next god is a magical execution. Let's bring out the All-Father of Asgard, Odin Force. And this is where the conversation shifts from a competitive fight to an absolute, no questions asked stomp. This isn't a fight. It's an eviction. Superman's greatest established weakness is magic. And Odin isn't just some magic user. He's one of the most powerful Skyfather sorcerers in the entire Marvel multiverse. The power he wields, the Odin Force, is a mystical energy source of nearly unimaginable might. It's the kind of power that makes Kryptonian invulnerability completely and totally irrelevant. Let's just quickly list what the Odin Force can do. At his peak, Odin can warp reality on a galactic scale. He can stop time. He can teleport entire civilizations across dimensions. He can strip beings of their powers and has been shown to engage in battles so massive they've shattered entire galaxies. We've even seen him fight cosmic heavyweights like Galactus to a standstill in certain storylines. These aren't feats of strength. They're acts of fundamental cosmic authority. You might argue that Superman has faced magic before, but has he really? He's dealt with imps and sorcerers who cast spells. He has never faced a being whose very will is a magical absolute. Odin doesn't cast spells like some lesser mage. He wills things into and out of existence. So here's the wrecking scenario, and it's short. Superman, seeing a threat, charges at Odin at top speed. Odin doesn't even move. With a single thought, he could do any number of humiliating things. He could teleport them both to a realm with a red sun and watch Superman power down. He could transmute the air around him into kryptonite. He could trap him in an endless time loop. But the most likely scenario? Odin would just turn him off. He could perceive the unique solar radiation that fuels Superman's cells and simply sever that connection with magic. Imagine Superman flying at full tilt, only to suddenly feel his strength, his speed, his invulnerability just vanish. He'd plummet to the ground, no more powerful than a human, staring up at a god who saw him not as a challenge, but as a minor disturbance that needed to be corrected. The fight is over before it begins. Odin's magic doesn't just bypass Superman's durability, it deletes the source of his power. Against the All-Father, Superman isn't a god. He's just a guy with a serious solar dependency, and Odin is holding the off switch. Section 5. The Beyonder, the Reality Warping Toddler. Okay, now we're taking a step beyond gods and cosmic forces. We're stepping into a realm of such absolute, nonsensical power that the very idea of a fight just breaks down. We have arrived at the Beyonder. Specifically, we're talking about the Pre-Retcon Beyonder from the original Secret Wars comics. This wasn't a being who was in the Marvel multiverse. This was a being who was his own entire multiverse. He was a cosmic entity from a realm so vast that the whole Marvel multiverse was like a drop of water in his ocean. To say he's powerful is a massive understatement. The original Beyonder was, for all practical purposes, omnipotent. Let's try to quantify the unquantifiable. This Beyonder was described as having more power than the entire multiverse combined. He swatted Galactus away like a bug. He defeated a group of Celestials with a casual thought. He even erased the abstract entity Death from existence. So for a while, nothing in the universe could die. The only beings who could theoretically challenge him were on a similar meta level. The problem with fighting the Beyonder is that he doesn't play by any rules. Physics, magic, logic, none of it applies to him. He's like a curious toddler who just happens to have the power of a creator god. So, what's the wrecking scenario? It's whatever the Beyonder wants it to be at that moment. Superman flies up, a symbol of strength and justice. The Beyonder, in his childlike curiosity, might find him fascinating. He might wonder what would happen if Superman's powers came from eating spinach instead of a yellow sun. And with a thought, it would be so. He might wonder what Superman would look like if he were made of glass. And with a flicker of will, Superman would shatter. He might just get bored, blink, and in that instant, Superman, his history, his planet, and the very memory of him would be gone from existence. There is no punch Superman can throw that the Beyonder can't just unexist. There is no speed he can reach that the Beyonder can't just will to be zero. Any physical attack is completely futile. It would be like a drawing on a piece of paper trying to fight the artist holding the pencil. The artist can just erase the drawing, redraw it, or crumple up the paper and toss it. This rookie Superman, whose powers are defined by the physics of his universe, would be facing a being who isn't bound by those physics at all. The Beyonder could look at Superman and say, "Your powers don't work anymore." And that's it. The power gap here isn't a gap. It's a conceptual abyss. Superman is a character in a story. The Beyonder is the author, editor, and publisher all rolled into one. Section 6. The Living Tribunal. The Multiversal Judge. We've now reached the true upper echelons of the cosmic hierarchy. The entities on our list are barely characters anymore. They are functions of the story. And few are more imposing or absolute than the cosmic judge of the multiverse, the Living Tribunal. The Living Tribunal is a vastly powerful entity whose entire job is to safeguard the multiverse from imbalance. He doesn't take sides in good versus evil. His role is to maintain cosmic equilibrium. If any single being or universe gets too powerful and threatens the stability of all realities, the tribunal steps in. His power is, for all practical purposes, on a completely different level. He exists in all realities at once, and his authority is famously so absolute that he was able to decree that the infinity gems couldn't be used together, rendering the full infinity gauntlet useless. His authority is generally considered second only to the supreme creator of the Marvel multiverse. So, why would he wreck Superman? Because in the face of this kind of cosmic judgment, Superman isn't just outmatched, he's basically irrelevant. Let's imagine a scenario where our rookie Superman, maybe through some cosmic accident, starts absorbing so much energy that his power threatens to tear reality apart. That's the kind of thing that gets the tribunal's attention. The Living Tribunal would simply ... appear. A giant, golden figure with three faces representing equity, necessity, and vengeance. He wouldn't be there for a fight. He would be there to pass judgment. Superman, brimming with uncontrollable power, would probably see him as a threat and attack. And that's the wrecking. The tribunal wouldn't need to raise a hand. His very judgment is the weapon. He would weigh Superman's existence against the needs of the multiverse. And if he found him to be a threat, he would deliver his sentence. That sentence could be to instantly nullify Superman's powers. It could be to trap him in an unbreakable prison for all time. Or, if the threat was great enough, it could be to simply erase him from the timeline past, present, and future. You can't punch a concept. You can't use heat vision on a cosmic law. The Living Tribunal operates on a plane where physical might is like a child's toy. He doesn't fight battles. He ends them. There's no scenario where Superman wins, because the very act of opposing the tribunal would be proof that he has a problem that needs to be solved. It's cosmic checkmate from the very first move. The Living Tribunal wouldn't just defeat Superman. He'd render a final verdict on his very existence. Section 3. Amatsu-Mikaboshi. The primordial unmaking we've seen Superman outmuscled and outmagicked. Now let's escalate to a threat that isn't just a god, but a fundamental aspect of reality itself. Meet Amatsu-Mikaboshi, the Chaos King. This isn't a being who wants to rule or conquer. This is an entity whose entire purpose is to return everything to the primordial nothingness it came from. The Chaos King is an abstract entity, the embodiment of the void that existed before creation. At his most powerful, he's the equal and opposite of Marvel's Eternity, the personification of the universe. This is a being who operates on a level so far beyond Superman that a physical fight is almost laughable. Let's talk power. During the Chaos War storyline, the Chaos King consumed entire pantheons of gods. He laid waste to a massive portion of the Marvel multiverse. He defeated Zeus, another Skyfather, with barely an effort. He is a being of living darkness and chaos. Anything he touches can be corrupted and absorbed into his void, its power added to his own. So, what about the wrecking scenario? This is where it gets genuinely terrifying for the Man of Steel. Superman's powers are physical. Heat vision, strength, speed, these are tools for interacting with the physical universe. The Chaos King is a threat to the universe itself. Imagine Superman flying to confront this swirling mass of darkness. He unleashes his most powerful heat vision. It's just absorbed into the void, making the Chaos King stronger. He throws a punch that can shatter planets. His fist passes right through the shadow, but in that moment of contact, the Chaos King touches him. And that's the end. The Chaos King wouldn't fight Superman. He would unmake him. He could corrupt the solar energy in Superman's cells, turning his power source into a poison that consumes him from the inside. He could attack him on a spiritual level, something Superman has no defense against, and simply add his soul to a legion of enslaved gods. Even more terrifyingly, he could just ignore Superman and target everything he protects. He wouldn't need to defeat Superman. He'd just erase the concepts of hope, truth, and justice. He would consume Earth, the sun, the entire galaxy, returning it all to the silent, featureless nothing he represents. Superman would be left floating in an endless void, his powers useless because there's nothing left to be powerful against. What good is strength when there's nothing to lift? What good is speed when there's nowhere to go? This isn't a defeat. It's a conceptual erasure. A Chaos King wouldn't just wreck Superman. He'd wreck his entire reason for being. Section 4. Galactus, the Cosmic Hunger. Moving on up the cosmic ladder, we arrive at a being who is less a god and more a force of nature, a fundamental part of the cosmic balance. We are talking, of course, about Galactus, the devourer of worlds. This matchup is a particularly bad one for Superman for one simple reason. Galactus is an energy consumer on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend, and Superman is a walking, talking solar battery. To Galactus, Superman isn't an opponent. He's an appetizer. Let's be clear about the scale here. Galactus wields the power cosmic, a force that gives him nearly godlike abilities. He can manipulate matter and energy on a universal scale. His power is so immense that even a starving Galactus is a major cosmic threat. A well-fed Galactus is a being who has gone up against Celestials. His entire function is to consume planets to sustain himself. He doesn't do it out of malice. It's his role in the cosmic order, a balancing force to another cosmic entity, eternity. Now for the wrecking scenario. The fight begins with Superman confronting the colossal figure of Galactus as he approaches Earth. Superman, being the hero he is, would try to reason with him. When that fails, he'd attack, delivering blows that would feel like nothing more than insect bites to the devourer. Galactus, likely just annoyed, would then realize what he's dealing with, a being literally overflowing with potent, pure solar energy. The fight would end the moment Galactus decides it should. He wouldn't need to throw a punch. He wouldn't need to fire a blast. He would simply extend a hand and begin to feed. Imagine Superman's horror as he feels his own power, the very energy that grants him strength and invulnerability, being siphoned from his body at an impossible rate. His heat vision would flicker out. His flight would falter. His strength would drain away. He'd be like a smartphone being wirelessly drained of its charge, and Galactus is the ultimate reverse charger. The fight would last as long as it takes Galactus to drink every last drop of solar energy from Superman's cells, leaving him a powerless husk. Even if Superman managed to land a significant blow, like he did against the World Forger in the comics after sun dipping, that was a peak, experienced Superman. This rookie version lacks the raw power to do any real damage to a being who eats supernovas for lunch. A solar flare, one of Superman's ultimate attacks, would just be a snack for Galactus, who would absorb the radiation and get stronger. This isn't a battle of strength. It's a battle of thermodynamics. And in a contest against a being who consumes cosmic energy for breakfast, the man of solar power doesn't stand a chance.